If you're a Mets fan, then you know that this weekend was a wash. Rain-shortened game on Friday, game canceled due to rain on Saturday, same thing on Sunday. And it begs the question, why doesn't the team, a lot of MLB teams, have a retractable roof? Well, New York Post MLB columnist Jon Heyman, he wrote about this and why he thinks the Mets should get a retractable roof. He joins me now. Jon, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Dexter?
I'm doing well, doing better than the Mets, who had a couple games rained out this weekend. And I'm so glad that you wrote this column and everything you talked about the fact that Steve Cohen, Mets owner, has considered a retractable roof. But I have to start off by asking you this question, right? In 2023, we've seen a lot of new stadiums built over the past couple of decades. Why haven't there been more stadiums with retractable roofs?
Well, it's the money. It's always about the money. And Steve Cohen looked into it, and it's more expensive now than it had it been done when the stadium was built in that 2007, 2008 area. Obviously, there's inflation. There's other reasons now need to be retrofitted. It makes it much, much more expensive. So he looked into it. He understood it. He knew there's a need for it. It's just, I understand that fans reached out to me and said, well, let's spend the money on Ohtani. Let's not spend it on the roof. I understand that. But if you go back to 2007, 2008, as we look back on it, would you rather spend the money on the Jason Bay contract, the David Wright contract, or the retractable roof? You look back at it now, and I get it, because now it's $800 million from what I understand, from what Steve Cohen was told that it would cost. Obviously, that's very expensive. It's not my money. I do like to spend other people's money. And, it's just such an inconvenience to have all these games rained out. I understand a lot of the fans are watching it on TV or however they're streaming, whatever they do to get the game. They're not all at the game, but just think about the 40,000 fans who had plans. And it's not only about the rain. I've been to all the parks with the roofs. The roof is frequently closed, and it's often because of cold, occasionally due to heat. It's mostly closed in Miami, even. It's certainly in Milwaukee, and it would be here as well. It'd just be a much more comfortable experience in all the games, not just saving the few games that are rained out and the inconvenience for those poor fans who had the tickets for those games. It just would be a major, major benefit. Now, I get it. It's $800 million. That's a lot of money.
Right.
And that's why I positioned it like, let's do the roof, not a free agent or two, because it is expensive.
Right, with the fact that it's expensive, right, Jon? But you also can look at it on another financial aspect in the fact that a lot of money is lost when you have these games that are rained out. You might have fans that have bought tickets that can't get back to the makeup dates or the double headers. So doesn't this, from a financial sense, actually benefit the Mets and other teams to have a retractable roof?
Well, I'm not an economic expert. I'm not particularly good with money. I'm not sure. There is a lot of money wasted. Obviously, the Braves were in town with a hotel room, just totally wasted. They may have to come in early, potentially. I think it's going to be a doubleheader next time, though. But certainly the team loses money on the gate when you have a straight doubleheader, as you'll have today, and another doubleheader later in the season, presumably. I do think there is going to be a lot of money saved, but it's more, I think, about the inconvenience and the discomfort and basically that more than anything. I don't know if you can recover the $800 million. It's a lot of money. You have to ask an economics professor probably about that one. Unfortunately, we know now that in 2007, when they investigated it, it would have been $100 million to $125 million more, which would have been a good purchase had they had done that. Back in those days, I guess $100 million was considered a lot of money. If Steve Cohen could do it for $100 million, he'd do it in a second. But $800 million is a lot. Obviously, we know he paid $2.4 billion for the team, so you're adding another 33% outlay for him. And I do think that it would enhance the value of the franchise to some degree. I don't know whether it's $800 million worth, but it would enhance the value. There are other reasons to do it economically, but the main reason is that it's just very, very inconvenient and uncomfortable to sit through these days.
Okay, so last thing here for me, John, because we both agree we're no economic experts here. We both can agree on that. But the last thing for me here is you talked about the price tag and what this is, and you wrote this column, which is fantastic, talking about this issue. But is this realistic to get done? Do we ever think Steve Cohen or maybe some other owner, if it's not Cohen, will actually put a retractable roof on the stadium? Do you think this happens? Could we see a retractable roof on Citi Field, I don't know, in the next decade or so? Does this happen?
Well, Steve Cohen's going to own the team for all of that period. And, from what I understand at this point, having reached out to him yesterday, he finds the price exorbitant at this point for $800 million. Hard for me to sit here, as you and I are not experts in this, to debate it with him. And it is a lot of money. So I'm not sure that we're going to see this in the foreseeable future. But, I wouldn't rule it out because he certainly understands the need for it, and he certainly has taken the time to look into it and investigate it.
All right. Well, at least now we can say that Steve Cohen, Mets owner, has talked about he understands the need for it. That is a start. At least that's a step maybe into the right direction.
We're on first base. Yeah, we're on first base. We got a ways to go.
We just need somebody to come in and drive it home and let it happen so we can see this Citi Field and other stadiums around the country. That is Jon Heyman, MLB columnist for the New York Post, always doing a great job. Check out his column on nypost.com. John, thank you for the time. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you.